everybody and welcome back to yet another video back in Chivalry 2 yet again, and today we're talking about Chivalry 2 weapons and what maybe is to come, what weapons we would like to see in the game, and what classes or maybe subclasses that need some loving and some more stuff to get into their kit. Now, first of all, I want to say thank you everybody for tuning in, and if you are new to the channel, we are getting close to 3,000 subscribers, so if you can help me out and we can reach that goal together, that would be a very amazing moment, a very gameplay amazing moment. So thank you so much in advance. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you around in the future as well. Alright, so let's get into the nice stuff of meatiness of Chivalry 2. Now, in Chivalry 2 already we have a decent amount of weapons. But I have noticed that in the beginning of Chivalry 2 I was a little bit critical of the game because the long sword had just skins to be the Zweihander. I think it's a great sword, I don't remember which one. But a lot of the weapons that were like supposed to be unique were not unique. They were just skins of another weapon, so they were same base damage. And I think the reason Tornbanner went this route was because it's easier to balance lesser weapons than having multiple ones that, you know, mess up the balance and everything. But I remember in Chivalry 2, it was... No, not in Chivalry 2, sorry. In Chivalry 1, when you could unlock multiple different swords, it felt nice. Each sword had its own benefits, its own drawbacks. But it was a nice balance in that way that you had to choose what kind of sword you wanted to use, or what kind of weapon you wanted to use. Now, I'm going to start off with my favorite class, and I know you're not going to like me for this, but my favorite class is the Archer. The reason why I love the Archer is not because I like being the guy that sits in the back and shoots you when you're trying to do your duels. I just like to see the arrow cam when I impale somebody with an arrow. And sometimes it's very satisfying because you get that like close-up personal view and the person goes flying backwards and you nail them to a wall. There's something satisfying about that. And if you play Archer, you know what I'm talking about. So the Archer class doesn't really have a lot of weapons. Now the Longbowmen kind of subclass has two bows. One of them is the longbow and the other one is the warbow. And then we have the crossbow with only one crossbow, and then we have the javelin guy with a javelin and some throwing axes. Now, those two, or all of those three aren't that bad, but I feel like the crossbowman could probably get a heavier crossbow. Like in Chivalry 1, you could get a very heavy crossbow that took ages to wind up, but it did tons of damage. It was basically a one-shot to anybody's face. And that thing was satisfying to use. And I have a feeling Tornbanner is holding back on this one because it would probably piss some people off. But then again, there isn't that many archers on each team. So please, Tornbanner, please consider introducing this amazing crossbow back into the game. I would love you for it. I think somebody else would love you for it as well. Now, the javelin man that throws spears, I feel like that person could also need some more variety in throwing items instead of just some skins. I mean, we have axes, we have javelins. I mean, what about some sticks or something funny? Maybe something on fire. I don't know, something interesting. The Longbowmen, I feel like the difference between the longbow and warbow, they should add a recurve bow that does less damage but that is very quick to draw. I feel like that would be a good balance. There's a recurve bow skin for the longbow, but it doesn't really change the stats of the bow at all. It just, you know, it just adds some flair that you look like you're using a different bow, but you're actually not. And recently I've seen most archers even using the warbow because it actually has longer range than the crossbow. Hence why I think the crossbowman subclass needs a little bit of an upgrade. Because, you know, there's not a lot to go on here. Alright, so if we move over to, for example, the footman, we have quite a lot of small things. The footman has three classes. I think the engineer is my favorite, with a shovel and pickaxe. And I feel like that class is pretty sorted already. But the one class that I feel like we need some love to is the knight class. The knight doesn't really haven't really gotten a new weapon for ages now. The Vanguard got the Highlander Sword, which I've seen a lot of people complain about. Now, I haven't really met the Highlander Sword myself in close combat yet. Maybe because I'm sitting in the back and being an absolute... But, in general, other than that, the Highlander Sword is apparently a little bit OP, and I feel that the knight would need some upgrades to, you know, suit his kit. I don't remember all the weapons of the knight, but there are some weapons here that I feel like could be added to the knight to make it a bit more interesting. Maybe even give the knight like the one of the subclasses like a dual wielding opportunity to wield two weapons. That would be pretty cool. We had that in Deadliest Warrior in Chivalry 1, the DLC that came out. And that was pretty damn amazing. Dual wielding weapons, or maybe even having like, you know, you wield a weapon of some sort and you can wear like a ranged weapon of other sorts, like the samurai did in Deadliest Warrior. Then I think the Vikings in Deadliest Warrior was my favorite just because of the dual wielding. It felt amazing. And I feel like the knight, one of the knight classes could probably have that because that would look sick. Just a knight pulling out 2 weapons and going ham at people. The Vanguard could probably use a little bit more love as well. But we already have a decent amount of weapons. Now, I don't want to look too deep into the classes. The one reason I wanted to bring up the archery class in depth a little bit was because they kind of lack some weapons. I'm going to ask you though, what do you think is lacking in the subclasses and classes? Which class do you think needs more weapons and variety to their kit? Tell me in the comments below. Let's have a little talk about it, you and me. Let's figure out what's the best for the game. Now, in other news, we are getting the biggest update. And in the biggest update, they are adding a new faction, the Tennosian invasion. The Tennosians are coming, and they're going to burn everything. Now, in the Tennosian invasion, we haven't really gotten any news on exactly what this contains. But in the trailer, I'm going to play it here in the background so you can see, if you pay close attention to every soldier that is running into the castle that is from the Tennosian army, we can see some sabers. And these sabers, I would imagine, are new weapons. I don't know for what class. I would imagine maybe for the knight, maybe also for the footman. It could be both. I feel like they need more universal weapons as well that can go between every class to add more flexibility and more variety to each class. Now, I don't know how many weapons they're going to be adding with the Tennosian invasion, but I do feel like there are going to be at least a few more new weapons into everybody's kit that we haven't seen yet. Maybe even the complaints that I just lodged for some of the classes are fixed in the Tennosian invasion. I am not entirely sure, to be honest, but I'm very curious to see what is going to happen in the Tennosian invasion, what kind of weapons we're going to get, what kind of changes to weapons we're going to get, and how the game will feel. I really hope some of the hitbox issues are going to be fixed, because if you are playing on a server with a little bit of ping, sometimes it feels a little bit off when how you get hit and when you hit people. Sometimes you feel like you should have hit them. Like, I've had a lot of times, now this is coming from an archer perspective again, I've had a lot of times where I shoot an arrow and I look at the arrow cam and the arrow on my arrow cam goes through somebody in not hitting them. That confuses me. And hopefully that is fixed. So, if that is fixed, I think we have a great patch ahead and a lot of new weapons. Please tell me down in the comments what you think. What do you hope for in this update? What do you hope for weapons? And if you haven't already, subscribe, like, with the notifications turned on so you're notified when every video goes live. I'm the Turtle. Hopefully you enjoyed this little video. And until next time, stay safe and fight hard. Bye-bye.